It was good. It was bad. It was ugly. But unlike so many games we've seen in the past, the Cardinals Chargers game resulted in a Cardinals win. What does it mean? Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Hillsdale College. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. What in the wide world of everything did we witness last night? I almost recorded last night, but I'm like, I need to kind of soak this in and try to wrap my head around what in the wide world of hell we saw. There were ups, there were downs, there was stagnant, there was exciting, there was the Cardinals should be blowing the Chargers out, there was the Chargers should be blowing the Cardinals out. In my years in this market, it's been, almost 15 years at this point. I don't know if I've witnessed an Arizona Cardinals team that is so undefinable. There's no way you can put a label on this team for better or worse. We have no idea what in the world this team is. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's still kind of a TBD. And I don't think that's a bad thing through 7 weeks when the win-loss total was 6.5. By most books around there, 6.5. The Cardinals have won games they should have lost. They've lost games they probably should have won, but it was earlier in the season. And I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, I think about this team too much. I mean, I've hosted this podcast. This is my 8th season. So it's kind of just ingrained into my DNA at this point. And a lot of times you can put labels on things like, well, this is a weakness. This is a strength. This is something the Cardinals can bank on every week. This is something that the Cardinals have to mask in an effort to win games. And while on paper, you would think the offense is the thing you bank on, the defense is the thing you can't, the Cardinals gave up almost 400 total yards yesterday to Justin Herbert and the offense. And they didn't allow any Los Angeles Charger player to hit pay dirt. 5 field goals? Fantastic. For my Cameron Dicker stock on my fantasy team. And so rewarding to watch this somewhat faceless defense keeping predominantly the run game of the Chargers at bay. And yeah, sure, Quentin Johnson was out. World beater? No. Who cares? Will Dissly, Ladd McConkey were the top 2 options. Fine. The Cardinals can only play who's in front of them. With that, the Cardinals' defense was the star last night. And the offense, with a couple chunk plays, Kyler Murray's rushing touchdown, James Conner on that last drive with the catch and run for 30+ to set up the game-winning field goal. They didn't do a whole lot. The Kyler Murray interception that turned into a fumble, that turned into a recovery by Michael Wilson. That's how the game started. I'm like, well, buckle up. It's a Monday night game in Arizona. Anything's possible. It kind of had some feels to that 9-6 overtime game that broke Stephen Hauschka's brain with the Seahawks. He was my favorite kicker. Fantasy implications, of course, years ago. And he was never the same. Missed chip shot, field goals. The Cardinals end up winning. Like, what a weird game that was. Or it was a tie. Sorry. I blocked it out of my memory. It kind of had those feels. And then you see on the offense a couple chunk gains with wide receivers and tight ends in space. And you're like, where the hell is that? Why do you need to rely upon a broken coverage, Kyler Murray hitting the edge and being gone from winning the game? Why wait? Now, with that, I mean, the calling card for the Chargers with the new DC from Michigan and with Jim Harbaugh is defense and running the football. And the Cardinals, over 300 total yards, no real huge mistakes. I mean, they were totally bailed out early in the game because that would have been a sure 3 or 6 for the Chargers with 11 minutes left in the first quarter when the Cardinals got the ball, were marching, and then the interception happened. It was a whirling dervish of peaks and valleys, a lot of them. Play calling, coaching decisions. We'll discuss that in the next segment, or the third segment. But the Cardinals gotta win in a situation where the Arizona Cardinals organization usually have lost those games. And maybe it's a one-off. Maybe it's not. They came back against the 49ers and won on the road. They won a game that I don't think they had any business winning last night. But they got to win. They're 3-4. And this is exactly where they're supposed to be through 7 weeks with this roster. This is the best case scenario. Sure, 4-3, 5-2, 6. The most likely of scenarios is the Cardinals were 3-4 through 7 weeks. They've played one of the toughest schedules. And they're still here. So tip of the cap and flick of the forehead to the coaching staff simultaneously. Nick Rallis is coaching out of his mind. He's absolutely coaching out of his mind with the talent he has on the defensive side of the ball. The Cardinals, though, above all else, and this was a theme from last year also, they're doing things the right way to prepare for game day. You could tell the mental, it's just different. And I'm sorry if you don't, I'm sorry if you're so jaded by the past regimes and, being a fan for 30, however long, it's same old Cardinals. It's not. The old Cardinals don't win that game. The Cliff Kingsbury-led Cardinals do not win that game. So it was ugly. And the fact that the Cardinals can win ugly is something they haven't been able to do. Usually, the wins that the Cardinals have had, the signature wins, are when things are going perfectly. Balls are bouncing the right way. Play calling is working. There doesn't need to be some sort of fire alarm pull play call to save a game. The Arizona Cardinals are doing things the right way ahead of game day. And 50-50 games, 2 of them have bounced their way this year. Last possession ends on a kick with 0 time remaining. And the Cardinals have won both of those games. That's got to stand for something, regardless of how the game, played out up until that point. Begs the question, was this a lucky win for the Cardinals? It's more than that to me. I'll discuss it next. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Hillsdale College. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free online courses, including Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. All of Hillsdale courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by BetterHelp. Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them, because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Woo! Cardinals get a dub 17-15 in ugly fashion. Ugly, ugly, ugly. There were some things that happened in that game that some may deem as lucky, that tipped the scales in the Cardinals' direction in an effort to get the win. There's two big ones that stand out. First, the Kyler Murray interception turned James Conner punch out, turned Michael Wilson, incredibly athletic play to cover the ball, which gave the Cardinals a first down, 25 plus yards behind where the initial play started. Luck, maybe. Great instincts by James Conner and Michael Wilson. Yeah. Things like this need to go teams' way to win games in the NFL throughout the season. The quote-unquote luckier one was just dime dropped by Justin Herbert to Jalen Reagor in broken coverage inside the 5, right along the sideline. Starling Thomas, who got beat, runs in, peanut punches it out, and the ball, instead of bouncing directly out of bounds, which it was right on the line, which would have given the Chargers setup inside the 3-yard line, which would have more than likely been a touchdown, it skates the sideline into the end zone, right into the waiting hands of Jalen Thompson, which turns into a touchback and Cardinals ball. Now, I'm going to quote my father, Michael Clancy: do good things and good things will happen. Keep doing the right things and things tend to bounce your way. Now, I'm not one for karmic energy. I try to do the right things. But when it comes to things like this, if you prepare, if you do the right things in preparation, mentally, physically, the team as a whole, going into game day, sometimes things bounce your way. And while if both of those went the Chargers' way, the Cardinals definitely would have lost. If the Jalen Reagor punch out went out of bounds like it was supposed to, the Cardinals probably would have lost. And if Michael Wilson didn't recover that ball, the Cardinals probably would have lost. So the fact that the Cardinals were able to soften the blow by two miraculous plays that in a vacuum looked to be lucky, they would have lost the game. And yeah, especially a team like the Cardinals this year, they could use a couple bounces to go their way to win games. They need a couple bounces to go their way to win games. And while, yeah, luck, sure. When you put yourself, and this is like more theory-based than, oh, well, let's look at the EPA. I watched the game last night. The Cardinals were in the game every second of the game when they shouldn't have been. The defense held up. The offense didn't so much, but made chunk plays when necessary. And they had a couple bounces go their way. When you win the turnover battle in the NFL, you win games. And the Cardinals won the turnover battle regardless of what that looked like. The next thing. Luck. The Cardinals are able to win games without Marvin Harrison Jr. being a factor at all. I will be doing my full first segment tomorrow on Marvin Harrison Jr. I've got some thoughts. It's more than just, oh, Drew Petzing doesn't know how to call plays. Or it's more than, oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. is dropping balls when he's getting opportunities. Or, oh, it's, they were running 2 high safeties and they were bracketing him the whole game and he's got to get open. It was more than that. Like Dan Orlovsky, who had on the show on Friday, check that out. He's fantastic. He was great on the call. Him and Lou Riddick were like, get Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball. And I think they were saying that more as well. Jan Orlovsky is a former quarterback, and these guys wanting to watch Marvin Harrison Jr. do something. I think it was more self-fulfilling than, oh, this is the elixir to get the Cardinals to score points. Like, the Cardinals didn't have an absolutely stagnant offense the entirety of the game. Chargers have a good defense. Khalil Mack's good at football. Even with Joey Bosa out. I mean, still have Derwin James. I mean, they've got guys. Marvin Harrison Jr. being a non-factor. The Cardinals winning is not luck with Marvin Harrison Jr. being a non-factor. If you listen to Locked On Cardinals at all after they drafted him, or even before they drafted him, when I said the Cardinals should trade back, but if they don't, obviously they're going to get a good player at 4 at Marvin Harrison Jr., and he's going to be the third option on this team. It's pretty odd. Like, I'm not surprised by this. And I don't know why others, get Marvin the ball. They drafted him before. He's played 6 games. 6 games in 1 quarter. He got hurt right in the beginning of the Packers game 2 weeks ago. Like, I don't know. This isn't a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise. Cardinals are winning. Cardinals want, like, put it this way. The Cardinals haven't lost games because they haven't gotten Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. They haven't won games on the heels of not getting Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. The game against the Rams, I said after that, that's great that it's there. And that's not the expectation moving forward. This is a run first and sometimes run second offense. And you've got an all-pro tight end who's set to be all-pro tight end, Trey McBride. And you got James Conner. And you've got other wide receivers who have played more games than 6. It's going to take some time. So luck when it comes to that? No. First segment tomorrow, all about Marvin Harrison Jr.? Yes. Coaching mistakes. Woo! There were a lot of them. Cardinals got lucky. Yes. The Cardinals won despite their coaching last night. Yes. What do I mean? Did you watch the game? If you did, if you didn't, let's break it down. Next, Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Like, dude, in the information age, you don't have to have a bunch of tabs open, looking at a bunch of different things. FanDuel's got all the information and live play-by-play right where you're about to put some cheese down. And on top of that, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Final segment, Locked On Cardinals, your team every single day. When it comes to the coaching last night, everydayers, I am a huge, and still am, one game and an idea about why things could be going bad on offense for a couple games does not shatter my thoughts on this coaching staff. I don't understand why people are so quick to jump one pendulum to the other. For me, when I see new information, I discuss the new information as correlating to my original thought. And yeah, if my original thought seems to shift a little bit because there's new information, sure, we'll be discussing different things. I don't think Jonathan Gannon's a bad coach. I don't think Drew Petzing is a bad offensive coordinator. Yeah, I think Nick Rallis is showing out this year. And I think part of the reason why Drew Petzing is under a microscope and Nick Rallis isn't goes back to what I said before the season started. This year's defense is last year's offense. There's no pressure. Do the best you can with the talent you've got. And that's what Nick Rallis is doing. So it's easy for him to get a pass in 2024. He's elevated that defense 1,000,000%. I'm not saying that this is Vance Joseph his last year here. And it's harder to quantify defense when there's zero expectations. Now, they didn't give up a touchdown last night. That's quantifiable. So let's start with last night's mistakes, okay? Drew Petzing is running a vanilla offense with some of the more elite talent that the NFL has to offer. I'm not saying they're all 1As, okay? Trey McBride, top 5 tight end. Marvin Harrison Jr., number 4 overall pick. Kyler Murray, one of the best mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. I think that's fair to say. There are a handful, okay? Run on first down, run on second down, short on third down. Punt. The offense itself, as I've mentioned multiple times, is more difficult to call now because Marvin Harrison Jr. is there. Sure, first world problems, 1,000,000%. But dropping an elite wide receiver talent into a run-first offense has challenges. I don't think that that's something that is outside of the confines of normalcy. I don't think it's red alert, fire Drew Petzing. Like, people are so quick to jump. So quick to jump. Like, yeah, Drew Petzing actually has expectations this year. Okay? Fine. The Cardinals offense hasn't looked fantastic for chunks of games. But while it's that, as well as, adding Marvin Harrison Jr. in, on top of some questionable play calling, of course it has something to do with it. I'm not giving him a pass. This is a transition for everybody. Kyler Murray hasn't played great at times, sure. And this is where I'm in two camps when it comes to comparing the Cardinals to other organizations. When it comes to journeys, when it comes to path back to relevancy, you cannot compare the Arizona Cardinals to any other organization because no other organization matters. When it comes to offensive output, and you look at the rest of the NFL and how many bad offenses there are, defenses are catching up. Defensive lines, aside from the Cardinals, are better. Like, this is a different beast in the NFL now. It's not an excuse. It's more of a reason that could turn into excuse. If it ever turns into excuse, I'm flipping my entire thought process on Drew Petzing. Okay? But when it comes to Drew Petzing's play calling, I am still, and I know that like people disagree with me on this, and again, don't say hot take before you say something ever. Please, do it for me. Oh, I'm going to get some crap for this. Don't say that. Just say what you believe. And the only reason I've prefaced it with that is I've been on Twitter for the last 48 hours, and a lot of people are thinking that my thought that Drew Petzing has to run a different offense because he doesn't want to put the defense in bad situations. It's got to be a percentage of it. The Cardinals don't have a lockdown defense where they can say, flip it, just do whatever you want. The defense will bail us out. It's not that. And I think that the more boring approach towards offense at times benefits this team for 60 minutes. It does. And I know the offense, their job is to put up points. I completely understand that. I get it all. I get it. And Drew Petzing's job is a little trickier than some other offensive coordinators, where it's like you got to give the defense the best chance to succeed, and that's being on the field for the least amount of time. The Cardinals were on the field for like 25 minutes last night. It was bonkers that they won that game. Okay. So that was it. That's like the gray area stuff where it's like, is the play calling? Is it Kyler Murray? Is it a little both? Is it that they're playing a good defense? Okay, done. The Clayton Tune situation, stop it. So for those who didn't watch, or for those who were listening on the radio, or whatever it was, the Cardinals had a 3rd and 1 early in the game, brought Clayton Tune in for a push, got the first down. Okay, done. 3rd and 1 again, later in the game, much more important time in the game. 3rd and 1, stuffed, and it wasn't close. The fact that Kyler Murray isn't on the field on 4th down is inexplicable. It's undefinable. And it is absolutely a Travis Sham mockery to coaching. I do this once like a year. Travis Sham mockery, do you remember that? I think it was a Bud Light commercial. Fun fact, or little bar trivia. Who was the actor in that commercial? He is now a massive TV star. It's a travesty. It's sham. It's a mockery. It's a Travis Sham mockery. Look it up. It's going to blow your mind. Anyways, sorry, squirreled. I haven't squirreled in a while. I just squirreled there for you. We're back. The fact that Kyler Murray isn't in the game on 4th down, and you bring in, 6'5", whatever. He's cold on the sidelines. Jason Kelce isn't the center. Y'all have rolled great. Jason Kelce was the reason why the tush push worked for a couple years. The reason why Kyler Murray, the fact that Kyler Murray wasn't on the field on 4th down in such a pivotal moment, inexcusable. And even if they got the first down, still inexcusable. Well, Kyler Murray. Well, yeah. James Conner was running roughshod over this defense. Third down, give the ball to James Conner. Fourth down, maybe run an RPO and have a quick out to a receiver or Greg Dortch in the slot for a quick slant. It's not difficult to get 1 yard. But you put the ball in your best player's hands and don't have him on the damn sidelines. Inexcusable. Inexcusable. Second inexcusable moment that the Cardinals got bailed out on, even though, the Chargers ended up scoring points. 1st and 10, run, no yardage. 2nd and 10, and this was the second quarter, like a minute left or something, a minute and a half, and the Chargers got the ball to start the third quarter. Cardinals, 1st 10, no yardage. 2nd down, direct snap to James Conner, fake reverse to Kyler Murray, loses 5 yards. 3rd and 15. I think it was a dump down to Amari DeMarcado on 3rd down, or James Conner was one, I can't remember. 4th and 2 on the Chargers sideline. It was between the 45s, and they punt. It's like, listen, sometimes you gotta cojones up and get a 1st down and go put points on the board, especially in a game that's as fragile as that, where points are at a premium, and you've got Kyler Murray. Go get a 1st down. If you're going to run a trick play and then get 90% of the yards back on 3rd down, go get a damn 1st down. Go get a 1st down. And then the Chargers came down and ended up kicking a field goal before that. Regardless of how good the Cardinals defense is playing at any given moment, the idea that you're going to defer on 4th and short because the defense has been playing pretty well is idiocy. The offense is the strength of this team. On 4th and short, 4th and 2, where you can get a 1st down, go down and get points before half when your opponent's getting the ball to start the third quarter, inexcusable. It doesn't make any sense. The Cardinals won despite the coaching last night. I will give it as a one-off. It's not something you're taking Drew Petzing or Jonathan Gannon to task because the Cardinals did win. If they would have lost by 3, we'd be having very different conversations, a la every single Monday show of this Tuesday, every single post-game show all year. This is like a massive. It's like that pirate ship pendulum swing at Disneyland, where see where you get the butterflies in your belly. Yeah, that's what this is. That's what this has been. Regardless, the Cardinals get a win. Kyler Murray makes a chunk play to score a touchdown to take the lead. James Conner seals it. Cardinals get a dub. They're 3-4, 1 game out of the NFC West through 7 weeks. It's really the most rational, best case scenario we could have experienced, and we're here now witnessing the Cardinals do it. You got to take it. You got to take it. Marv under a microscope tomorrow. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you then.